Good morning, lovely people. How are you all doing today? I hope you're all well. We're back in the window trying to get some light because, yes, once again, it's so grey out there. It's flipping chucking down. I'm getting so frustrated because I really want some garden time. I feel like over January and February, I've had maybe 5 days down there. Not to worry. You know, it's normal for this time of year. It's just really frustrating, but we've got some dry weather coming, so good, I can get back out there. So, while we're indoors, I thought, yes, let's do this budget video. It's something that I've been asked to do loads of times before. So I'm going to be perfectly honest about why I haven't done it, and this is kind of like by way of a bit of a disclaimer right at the top of the video. Basically, whenever I've talked about money in whatever, scenario I'm talking about it, literally whenever I talk about money, the trolls jump on me, both in comments, private messages, and people can be really quite mean and nasty. So I just haven't wanted to expose myself to that. But it's ridiculous because basically what they do is, if I mention money, I get accused of begging, scrounging, pleading for money from you people. And I'm not. I never have done. There are so many times when people write to me and say, oh, can I send you something? And I say, no, thank you. I've got everything I need, everything I want for. Please save your money, give it to charity, whatever. And of course, people do still send gifts from time to time, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. But the bottom line is, no, I'm not asking for money. Of course I'm not. The thing is, it's kind of impossible. My whole channel is about, is it possible to live without a wage? And if it is, how? How do I do this thing of living without a wage? So because that's the whole premise of my channel, it's kind of impossible not to talk about money from time to time, because of course I still need some money. Everybody does. Even someone living, as I was mentioning the other day when I was reviewing those books, even someone in the depths of a wilderness who is trapping all their own food, they still need money because they need to buy gasoline for their snow machine, whatever. So, I just want to say to any of that kind of people, they are few and far between, I have to say, but to all the trolls, this video is not for you, so I would suggest you just jog on. Go and do something constructive with your day, rather than sitting watching me and being a keyboard warrior. Ah, yeah, good. They've gone. Did you hear them slam the door? Yay! So now we can all have a proper conversation without them interfering. So this partly came up the other day. Noddy, hello Noddy, had assumed that I still had some sort of income from somewhere, be it pension, what did he say? Inheritance, bursary, what have you. No, I don't have any of those. I'm going to talk about income in a second, but just to say very quickly on the thing of pension. In the UK, we get a state pension, and that the amount you get varies depending on how much you've contributed through your working life. And I have got missing years of contributions because there were some years I really wasn't earning very much, as an actor, whatever. In the first few years of nursing, I didn't contribute at all because, I contributed via the National Insurance Scheme, but not via the NHS pension scheme, because for the first couple of years, I was paying off all my student debt. I had £30,000 of student debt to pay back. So I focused on paying off my debts. So I have got some missing years. So my pension won't be huge. And I think the pension age is now 67 in the UK. So what am I, 15 years away from that? The pension is miles away. By the time I get the pension, from stopping work to getting my pension, it will almost be 2 decades. So yeah, I really have to do something else to support myself. The private pension, the nursing pension, I think they can be taken early. I think the earliest is 55, I'm not sure. But again, it's going to be such a minuscule pension that if I take it early, honestly, by the time I get to sort of 67, 70, I mean, it's going to be like £1 a week. So I really don't want to be using that now. Well, I can't use it now, but in a few years' time when I could take it early, I really don't want to be doing that, because then further down the line, when I'm, you know, older and even more decrepit than I am already in my body, I'm really going to need it, because the things I can generate for myself, it's all going to come down. It's kind of a bit scary, isn't it? So yeah, no pension for at least 15 years. And when it does come, it's going to be tiny. So, okay, we'll talk about in a moment what on earth do I do to pay for all the stuff I'm going to talk about now. So, I have certain things that I do need to still generate income for. So I'm going to go through them. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to write them down and show you stage by stage. So gas and electricity and water. So obviously these are things which can't do without. Let me show you. And I've converted everything for dollar amounts too, because I know a great swathe of you are in America. Now, I apologise to friends in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, all over the world. I can't convert this to every currency, but outside of the UK, by far the biggest group of my gorgeous viewers are American. So, yes, I've converted. So, the first things, my gas and electricity and my water. Gas and electricity, and these are monthly costs. So that's £80 for gas and electricity and £35 for water. The gas and electricity, that I pay that amount every single month. In the summer, my bill is usually much lower, say £40 a month. In the winter, it's usually higher, say £100 a month. So by doing that same amount throughout the year, over the summer, I build up credit to then get me through the winter. And then by about April or so in the spring, I can see over the course of that year, actually I've got more credit than I need. So quite often I'll get a little rebate of £100, £150, which is great. And I put that straight into another account, which I'll talk about in a second. Now, with the water, I do not use £35. That's water and sewage. I do not use that amount. If I was able to, sorry, I'm just suddenly thinking, because my head's going to be down writing these. I think I'm going to write all these out. Hang on, let me write all these down and then I'll come back to you. I didn't think this through, did I? Hang on a tick. Okay, that's better. I've got everything written down now. What I was just about to say about the water is I've tried on 2 occasions, about 10 years apart, just in case technology changed, to have a water meter fitted here, but they haven't been able to do it just because of how the conversion of this building was done in the, it was late 70s, early 80s. So it's really frustrating. As a single occupant, I get a 25% discount, which to me is ridiculous. It should be surely a 50% discount, because if I was living here with my husband or wife and they left, that's 50% of the household has left. So yeah, there's no way I use £35 worth of water and sewage, but that's as low as I can get the price. And similarly, looking down here, my council tax, this is a property tax everyone in the UK pays. It's based on value of property. Mine's in the lowest value band, because my home is not worth very much. But it's still quite annoying to think that, you know, people next door, there's tons of them, and they're paying the same as me. Anyway, never mind. Right, so that's gas, electricity and water. I think what I'll do is, because there's a lot of figures here, I don't want to confuse you, so I'll cover them up. Now, I also have bills to pay for the building. So although I own my flat, the ground the building sits on is rented, so I pay rent every year for the ground. I also have to pay into a kind of collective maintenance fund for the whole building. So if we need our gutters seeing to, or the roof a few years ago. And I also pay an insurance for the fabric of the building, and that's £50 a month, or in dollars, 69. So a lot of these costs are annual costs. So I have a separate account that I put money in every month, so that when the annual bill comes up, all the money is there already. So I take the annual cost, divide it by 12, and make sure that's put away each month. I'm going to show you that in a second, how I envelope my money. Next, I then have my contents insurance, so that's for the inside of the house. £11 a month, $15 a month. That would be in case of a burglary. I doubt anyone would get up here, but things like when the roof failed, things like it wrecked my flooring, it wrecked some furniture, I lost some books because of it. So that's what I have my contents insurance for. Next, computer costs, £16 or $22 a month. So that's for things like my antivirus software, my office software, my boiler, £9 a month or $12. Again, that's for the annual cost of having my boiler serviced. It's well worth it, keeps it ticking. Excuse me, I think when I was showing before Christmas and I was having pressure issues plus the fan issue, having this service once a year keeps me in guarantee. So if any parts fail, like when the fan failed and the board failed, I get those parts for free. Great. The garden, yay, one of the most important ones. So that's £10 a month, $14. So I've spoken about this before. I put away £2 a week for the garden, and by the time a year is up, that gives me £100 a year, 50 quid. It's actually a bit less for my rent, and the rest is for seeds and stuff. I've got a completely separate compost fund now after last year. Yeah, this is a big expense. Website and PO box, £50 a month, $69. So I'll just say on that, excuse me, sorry, I've got this tickle. That's about half and half, equally half and half. So the website's 25 quid a month, PO box 25 quid a month. The website used to be free for me, but then, how long ago was it? I think it's 2.5 years ago now, I added the shop into it, and that's what costs. So it costs me £25 a month to have that shop hosted on my website. I hummed and hawed. I looked around at other platforms, Etsy, not on the high street, that sort of thing, but basically wherever I would do my selling, there are fees and commissions to pay. And on all sorts of other platforms, I just felt that that was out of my control. It wasn't my own little shop. So I kind of juggled those things and thought, actually, that is worth it for me to have my own shop in one place on my own website, distinct from other places. So yeah, it's a bit of a every year to pay that bill. And the PO box, oh, this is another one that the cynics and the trolls, it was like, oh, you've got a PO box so people can send you stuff. God, they're so random and nasty, aren't they? The reason I have a PO box is because my business is entirely postal. I have to have a return address. I thought long and hard about this in the sort of 3 or 4 months leading up to launching the shop. Did I want to use my own personal address? And I just came down on the side of, no, I don't. I'd rather keep my personal address private and have a PO box as a return address for the business. Again, it's £25 a month, which is a bit, but I think it's well worth it, just in terms of, I need it for the business, it preserves my privacy, what have you. So, yeah, that's one of my big chunk ones. And that's always in the back of my mind every month, is how is the shop doing? Is it paying for itself? Next, my mobile phone, a mere £6, $8 a month. That's because I don't have a smartphone. I have a really, really ancient, dumb phone. And that £6 gives me literally, I think it's 50 texts and 50 calls a month. The only reason I have it, there's a couple of reasons. For instance, when I was working, if I got stuck in traffic, if I thought I was going to be late for work, I can quickly call to say, I'm so sorry, I'm going to be late. I think that only ever happened once. Or, but the main thing is I can be I'm always reachable from the point of view of my great aunt's carers. That's annoying sometimes, because sometimes I would like to be non-reachable, but yeah, they can reach me. And also simple things like if I go to the garden, if there's no one else around, I have my phone on me, because you know what? Worst case scenario, I have a slip, a fall, I dislocate my elbow again, I break my leg, whatever it is. At least if I've got my mobile, I can call for help. So I think that's £6 a month well spent. The internet, obviously I have to have the internet because I'm doing this. So that's £37 a month, $51. We'll rattle through these now, don't worry. The council tax, that's the tax I was mentioning that every property pays. £17, which is really, really low for a lot. I know a lot of people will be astonished by that. But bear in mind those two things. I get a 25% discount for being a solo dweller. But also my property. You see, this is another thing people say, sell up your London flat, buy a lovely big cottage and land. This place is not worth, it's just not worth it. It's home sweet home, but it ain't, it ain't a money pot. This one I'm really glad about to have reinstated. Charity. This is Macmillan Cancer Care, £15 a month, $21. And this is, originally I was doing a percentage of each sale from my shop, but then there were some months in the shop it might only be £2, and I thought that's not enough to pay them. Another month it might be £20, so I thought rather than doing a percentage from each sale, because then I was keeping track of it, let's just set up a standing order of £15 a month and be done with it. Yay! National insurance. So this, when I was talking about my pension contribution, that I've got some missing years, since going wage free, we're coming up 4 year. Those first 2 years, well, the first 3 years I didn't make a contribution, and then at the end of the last tax year I thought, I really need to try to make a contribution, because otherwise I'm going to have nothing when I'm 67. So I've this is a guesstimate at the moment. We'll see what the bill is like, but it's my best guesstimate, £17 a month. Oh, and then finally, shopping. Now it says 45 rather than 40, as in 10 a week, because obviously most months it's a bit more than 4 weeks, $62. So the grand total every month, that before I do anything else, is £398 or $552. So let's call it £400. £400 is my bare minimum, my absolute minimum, to just keep going, to keep everything going. It does add up, doesn't it? £400 a month is quite a lot of money. Now listen, I'm sure there are people out there who are going, what? But bear in mind, that's just kind of basic, keep a roof over my head, keep food in my belly, and be able to do those extras like the website and the PO box that are necessary in order to generate a bit more income to get that 400 quid. So I also looked at this. I'm covering up the bottom bit because, hang on a sec, per year, per annum, that is 4,776 quid, 6,600 and something dollars. Let's round it up. Let's call it £5,000 a year. So, yes, I live without a wage, but I still have to find £5,000 a year. When you say it like that, it sounds a lot, doesn't it? However, I've done a sum underneath this that I'll show you. If I was still paying my mortgage, and if I was buying my vegetables, this is a shocker, I would go from having to find £5,000 a year to having to find £12,600 a year. What's that in dollars? $17,500. Or per month, it's just over £1,000. So I'd go from £400 a month to a bit over £1,000 a month if I still had my mortgage and if I didn't have the garden. So that's one of the things I've said all along. There is no way, absolutely no way on earth that I could do what I'm doing today if I was still paying my mortgage and if I didn't have that garden. You know, the garden in a way was it was like the springboard in a way to see if I could do this. And yes, I jolly well can. So, income, where does it come from? And what were the other things? Oh yeah, and then I'm going to just quickly talk about how I manage it all. So, income per month just about does it. The majority of the income comes from YouTube. Now the thing with YouTube is the income fluctuates massively through the year. It all comes from the adverts. So you know, when people say, "Oh, I don't like seeing the adverts," well, it's that I'm sorry, I can't do all that work for nothing. I need to put the adverts on. I make all the adverts skippable, so you can just skip them. Unfortunately, I have no control over the length of them. I was watching one of Richard and Paul's videos recently and an advert came on that was 55 minutes long. It's ridiculous. No one's going to sit through that. It annoys me when they put that kind of thing on. So yes, I do have adverts. That's where the income comes from. January, February, March, April are rubbish income months. May, June, July, August, it's better. September and October, it massively dips again. November and December, it picks up. As you can imagine, the lead up to Christmas, the advertisers are wanting to advertise all over the place. So what I've done, this figure is, it's based on last year. I've taken the whole year and divided it by 12, and it comes up with £300. Woo! And then, sorry, excuse me. And then on top of that from the shop, so that's sewing and all those other, it's about £100 a month. So you can see that through those two things, I'm just covering my needs. So the shop, for instance, this is the one that I want to drive up. I want to be able to generate more from that. And I do from time to time. There are some really good months, you know, where it might be 250. That all gets ploughed back into the business. I'll explain and show that in a second. But yeah, and that YouTube figure hasn't really changed much since in the first year it was much lower as I was starting out. But considering I've been doing this nearly 4 years now, I would love it to go up. because, and this is not a pity party, because you know I love making my videos, I love chatting with you guys, I love that interaction, that feedback when we're in comments together. But looking at a combination of doing the YouTube videos and all the stuff that generates in terms of, say, comments, messages, emails, plus doing my garden and producing my own food, all the preserving, all that kind of stuff, harvesting, managing all of that. Again, if I average it through the year, YouTube and the garden alone average about 50 hours a week. So, you know, I do put a lot of time into YouTube. I need to, because it has been that kind of safety net to pay the bills every month. In a way, I'm saying this because, you know, don't think you can just give up your job and start a YouTube channel and yay, you know, unless you're extraordinarily brilliant and lucky somehow, it's not an income that would give you enough to have disposable income. At best, you might just be able to cover your bills. And for me, I'm just massively grateful to everyone for tuning in and watching me burbling on, because yeah, it does those bills. But like I said, it's a huge commitment, and unlike other things that you might commit to, you would hope that over time, over the years, that would kind of that would grow, that the income would reflect the effort that's gone into it. It simply doesn't with YouTube. So you have to do it for one of two reasons, well, both reasons actually, that because you enjoy doing it, as I do, and the bit of income that does come from it is really useful. So because that's about 50 hours a week, that's why sometimes I struggle with the sewing. That's how I end up sometimes ending up with a sort of 100-hour week. It's ridiculous, but I love it. You know, the bottom line with all of this is, my goodness, yes, I do go without a lot of stuff that people take for granted, but I'm happy. That's always the bottom line. I'm happy, and I'm not annoying anyone else whilst I'm doing it. Well, I hope not. You know, I'm not, you know, saying to the government, you support me while I sit at home and scratch my bum. No, supporting myself, doing it myself. Right, now, so you can see from that, so the outgoings every month, it's about £400 a month. The income each month is about £400 a month. Every now and again, that income does go up with, say, the shop. Hopefully it will soon with some bunting, stuff like that. So how on earth do I manage all this? Actually, do you know what? I think I'm going to stop you all for a minute. I'm going to write this out and then show you. Okay, I've drawn a pretty picture for you. Not quite a pretty picture. So, as I was just saying, so there's that £400 a month average comes in. How do I manage it? Very simply, I have 2 bank accounts, and each bank account has 2 accounts within it. So here I have bank account number 1, and this is all those monthly bills that have to be paid. This, by the way, it doesn't include my £45 a month shopping money. This is all my absolute standard every month bills. So you see I've written next to it YT, that's for YouTube. When I get my income from YouTube, I have it automatically diverted straight into this account, so that before I do anything else, all my bills are covered. Brilliant. In this account, I also have a savings account. It's like my emergency fund, and that includes things like if I need to buy a new computer, a new camera, a new sewing machine. This is me safeguarding my assets. So that's within this first bank account, and this is my absolute crucial. This is my must-have monies. So, you know, birthdays, Christmases, anytime I ever get a gift of some money, it goes straight into this, because I absolutely have to protect those assets. If I didn't have a camera, I couldn't make YouTube videos, I would lose this income stream. If I didn't have my sewing machine, I would lose this income stream. So in this second bank, and I've written shirt, and shirt, because it's mostly from the shop, the first amount that comes in that gets divvied off, that's my £10 per week spend. Anything over and above that then automatically gets transferred into another savings account. And this is where I have my compost fund. And this is where this is all my sort of shop assets. So if I'm going out to buy fabric, any supplies for the shop, even down to things like brown paper for the parcels, envelopes to post things out in. There are myriad little costs that I think a lot of folk wouldn't even think about or see. But this is my kind of, it's my backup for the shop. And obviously it now has the compost fund in it too. So again, anything over and above, either from the shop, or if I do a sewing job for someone like the blimmin' boring curtains, or if I'm gifted at birthday or Christmas, any cash, it goes straight into there. So what it means is it's doable. It's really, really tight. And, you know, it would be so tempting to... I just want to say as well, you know, occasionally if I'm given cash, someone says, please give yourself a treat. Yeah, let's have a bottle of wine. It'll be a cheap bottle of wine, £4 bottle of wine. But generally I'm really, really... I mean, I'm frugal anyway, but I'm just really, really safe with any money that comes into my hands, that those bills get paid first of all, those monthly bills, the food, the shopping, the £10 a week shopping money, that's secure. But outside of that, you know, even if, like, you know, my sister gives me £50 for Christmas, that's so lovely of her, I don't think, yay, I'm going to go out and buy a pair of shoes or a new dress or go to a restaurant or that kind of thing. My first thought always is, right, brilliant, £10 can go in the compost fund, £10 can go in the fabric fund, £30 can go in the, you know, my computer, sewing machine, whatever fund. Because the very last thing I want ever is, you know, if my computer was to break or my sewing machine was to break, the very last thing I want to do is to lose that income stream, or to go have to go begging cap in hand to someone else to say, can you buy me a sewing machine, please? It is about, and that's what I mean, we were talking the other day about sort of the different nomenclature, whether we're talking subsistence, self-sufficient, self-reliant. What I've tried to do with everything is to just try and be as self-reliant as possible. You know, I have to look after me. I don't expect anyone else to look after me. And it's doable. So, that's been quite wordy and numbery, hasn't it? But I hope that satisfies all your nosiness, you nosy lot. I would be really nosy too. But yes, back to what Noddy said about, you know, inheritance and having this, you know, some income, some secret income. Like he said, he thought I was just playing at this. And on the side, I was actually, he put it brilliantly, I have a nice middle class rich pension or something. No. Inheritance, no. When my dad died, not only did I not inherit anything, well, I did, I inherited his debt. Thanks, Dad. Oh my goodness. So no inheritances, no bursaries, no private income from, say, a great big savings account that's getting interest. Literally what I showed you today, that is the absolute nub of it, the truth of it. I'm sure, well, I hope that's answered all your questions. Obviously, if there is anything you're wondering about, you've got questions about, please put them in the comments below. You know, I'm very open about all this. I think, excuse me, there are a lot of folk who, don't want to talk about money. But I kind of feel a responsibility too, because I do get folk writing to me saying they want to do this, they want to jack in their job, they want to see if they can live from their land, what have you. My first reaction is, yay, you know, give it a go, give it a go. But, you know, be realistic, and you will still have to find money from somewhere for certain things. So I think it would be remiss of me to have my channel and be all sort of roses and lovely vegetables and, oh, isn't this a pretty little life, and yeah, pretty little life, all roses and tinkering in the garden. I actually had someone say to me recently, oh, you're so lucky that you can spend all day every day in your garden. Firstly, if there's any luck in it, I made that luck for myself by working my butt off to pay off my mortgage, student debt, what have you. But also, I don't spend all day tinkering in the garden. So yeah, I hope that's dispelled a few myths. I don't have a private income. I don't tinker in the garden all day. The reality of it is, you know, if I have a day where I'm not feeling so well, that's difficult because there's no sick pay. There's no holiday pay. If I want to take some time off, if I want a day off, what the work I would have done in that day has to be squeezed into the previous 6 days or the following 6 days. So yeah, give it a go. Do your own numbers, sit down, but write down absolutely everything. Think about those annual bills you have as well and divide them by the month, and think to yourself, can I generate 400 or 500 quid a month out of thin air almost? The other thing to bear in mind is I don't have a car. That's a huge expense, isn't it? Even if you're not putting petrol in it and running around in it. So yeah, no car, no mortgage, and the majority of my own food is how I can do this. It's really exciting, isn't it? I love it. So I hope that has, like I said, answered myriad questions, but I hope as well that may inspire you to have a day at your kitchen table, your desk, wherever it is, look at all your bills, mash it all down to what exactly it is a month. This is similar to the envelope system, you know, people use their envelopes to put a tenner in here and a tenner in there or whatever it is. Think about how you could spread that out between different accounts, different envelopes, to make sure you're just keeping all those boxes ticked and ticking over. And who knows, maybe it would be possible for you to go wage free and live the gorgeous subsistence life. All right, my lovelies, I'm going to leave it there for today. Thank you so much if you've stayed till the very end. I know it was quite a wordy one, this, wasn't it? If you stayed till the end, thank you so much. I appreciate every single view, every comment. I don't appreciate every comment. I don't appreciate the nasty ones, but they're few and far between these days, thank goodness. But yeah, I appreciate you. That's what I'm trying to say. So you, be safe, be well, be happy. And hopefully this weather will perk up so we can get back outside. That would be really nice. But before I do, I think I've got an indoor sewing to do. So until then, look after yourselves, everyone. I'll see you soon. Cheerio.